morning. Welcome to Take Me to the River, which looks a little bit like Take Me to the Lake today. So my plan had been to show you about invasive species today because there's so many along this river. But unfortunately the rain had other ideas, and with more than an inch of rain, we are now standing right in the middle of the floodplain. So this gives me a wonderful opportunity to show you about the floodplain. If you had been standing in this location 200 years ago, it wouldn't be looking this way. It would look completely different. 200 years ago, all of the upstream wetlands, old growth forests, prairies with their deep roots would have absorbed all this storm water. It wouldn't be running off like this. What you're looking at is the effect of what we have done to this environment with all of the paving over of all of our natural areas. And you can see how the environment suffers because of it. Plants, aquatic plants, we don't really have barely any in the Rouge, mainly because they just would get washed away. So you don't see a lot of vegetation along the river. Benthic macroinvertebrates, the bugs that form the bottom of the food chain that are our fish food, well, they're adapted to fast-moving streams, but not necessarily a flood like this. And what about our amphibians? What about our frogs and toads? Well, just a few days ago, there were lots of American toads calling like crazy, and the females were laying their eggs and getting them fertilized. What do you think happens to the wetland that was right across the road over there? All those eggs are getting washed downstream. Think about that impact. Now, why is this happening? It's because of all those paved surfaces upstream, and you can actually have an impact on that. Things like trying to maintain more of that water on your own property, like by putting in, say, a rain barrel, and we have a sale coming up, put in a rain garden, even put in some pervious pavers. Things like that can make a really big difference so this doesn't happen. So just to show you a little bit more, this bridge right here is pretty close to Telegraph. I was showing you Telegraph over there, and you can see that that water is actually starting to threaten this bridge. See how it's coming up against there, and the river may still be rising, so it may cover this bridge. The reports right now are that Hines Drive is closed all the way up to 7 Mile in Northville, and maybe more. I also wanted to point out, do you see those yellow lines? This is the road, and that right over there, zoom in a little bit more, is Telegraph. So you could take your canoe right under Telegraph today. I often wonder why they close Hines. Well, some other things you can think about is the more that we can preserve natural land, if you can support your community when they think about purchasing land along the river and preserving it. Support your local land conservancies that work hard to preserve this land. Look at that current. Give you a little view right here. That is a lot of water. I'm just going to show you some of the flooding over here. Luckily I've got my boots on. Some puddles, but you can see the river actually extends up into this restored prairie over here, and this pathway Goes right into a great big lake. And this area that had toads calling the other day, well, I'm afraid those eggs are getting washed away. So I'm going to just let you hear the quiet for a minute. And thank you so much for joining us today for Take Me to the River. Thanks. See you again next week, 9 o'clock Tuesday. Bye-bye.